Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another day, another stream here on what is this? InfoSec Wizard YouTube channel. Too many things going on. Let's get rid of that. Get back on the screen here. Awesome. Yeah, so welcome back. If you're visiting, trying to figure out how to get this. I'll fix the layout here. Let's see how we do it. Welcome back if you're new. If you're not, welcome back if you're not new. Welcome if you are new. How about that? My brain's not working. I need the caffeine. Yeah, so we'll spend some time answering some questions. Had a interesting question today that snuck through my stuff. It snuck through my stuff, so I didn't get to it. I didn't see it till I was cruising, like manually looking to see if I missed any comments. But we'll look at that real quick. I told the person I'd answer it's on here, and I type them back afterwards, which is totally true. So the question is, and I was going to think about if I should put it on the screen or not. I won't. It'll be okay. So he was basically asking about what type of certifications he should get. So it started out, hey, should I get the CCNP? In the cybersecurity space, no one cares about your Cisco certs unless you're an engineer. Honestly, I have yet to work with someone that has actually utilized those certifications. They're good, right? If you're trying to be an engineer, but for the most part, you're not really going to utilize it. It's secondary information. So there's this whole concept where people are like, "But this is super technical. This is super specific. Shouldn't it be better?" No, not really. If it's secondary information, stuff that's not going to directly support whatever role you're having. So in this case, he's looking at maybe being a SOC analyst. It's not going to be that helpful. Like it'll help you understand what you're looking at, but it's not going to help you investigate, if that makes sense, right? Because it's mostly configuring routers and doing engineering firewall stuff, which is, you know, it is what it is. Um, so not that particularly useful. I wonder how. Hmm. I feel like this isn't full screen. Let's look to see if it's full screen. I always have all the trouble. Let's do automatic layout. There we go. That works. Yeah, I mean, so if you want to do it because you want to do it, go for it. These are the Cisco things. These specific, like cloud ones, are the same, right? There's quite a few cloud certifications. Most of the junior level ones really focus on pricing. That's not really going to help you be an analyst. There are some security focused ones, but you don't need to spend time studying for a certification to learn the knowledge from those to get the information you need to apply to your hands-on roles. So whether that's pen testing or SOC analyst work. Sorry to crush your dreams. You just don't need it. Again, do it. Do it if you want to do it. Do it for you, but don't do it because you think you need it to do your job well. You don't. You need to learn to do your job well to do your job well, and that's learn doing training specifically tuned for the job you want to do. So SOC stuff or subsets within there, such as malware analysis, forensic analysis, or for your pen testing, malware dev, exploit dev, you name it, whatever the skill happens to be. AI, offensive AI, things like that. Now, this person followed up with, if I go only for SOC and pen test role, this is just a mediator or a technician level role, not an engineer level role. Yeah, again, if you want to be an engineer, be an engineer. No, these aren't engineering roles. Sometimes offensive people are considered offensive engineers. Um, like I was a chaos engineer at the beginning of my last job. Then I became a purple team person. But it's just a lot of times people just play with words. It's words play. It doesn't really mean anything. Then he says, with the CCNP security, blue team, the defender ones are true hands-on skills with the networking security skills, end-to-end security, physical security, perimeter security, and a lot more. I looked at the course that he mentioned. It was straight network configuration type stuff. It's different. Configuring is different than investigating. So just keep that in mind if you're talking about doing a SOC thing, a SOC based role or a pen test role. They go on further to say, now the thing is, if I go further into Cisco and ISC Square for CCIE security with CISSP, how far can I go with pen test or SOC? I found maximum OSCP or GRC certificates, and I don't know what the top level of cybersecurity to achieve in blue team, red team, black. I don't know what black team is, first of all. Purple team. Comment below if you've heard of what black team is. Please provide highest career certificates in cybersecurity. So a lot to unpack here. There's this misconception that you need to do certifications to keep climbing. At a certain point, yes, you need to do certifications. Like, yeah, OSEP is higher than OSCP. I have both. But above that, you have the OSCE, which compromises all these higher level certifications above the OSCP. I don't have that one. I would like to get that one. So that's one above. But even above that, you have an even higher level one that's actually really hard to get into. That would be a really cool one. But that's offensive security. After you've done with those certifications, what's next? You're probably wondering, what do you do when you've gotten all the certifications? At a certain point, you don't need certifications anymore. It's just for other people. For you, your ability to do research and development and to start building and kind of finding your own path is where you go, right? Like, think about it this way. Some of these presenters at DEF CON, do you think they did a certification to learn these new techniques? No, they're new. They were developed through research and development efforts, R&D efforts. So don't put all of your stock into certifications. Yes, they're going to help you get a job. Yes, they'll help you get started. But eventually, you're going to max out there, and you're going to have to find your own way forward. So I'm pretty fuzzy today. I wonder why. But something to consider. The other point here, I need to close the store in a second. He's talking about CISSP and how high can you go, just in general. And that's a good question. That is for you to figure out. There is only so high you can go as a technical person. Can you close that? Yeah, thank you. There's only so high you can go as a hands-on person, and you have to make the deliberate decision. Do I continue down this road of a technical person? Do I go management, or do I work for higher tier companies? So, like, am I moving from Joe Schmo mom and pop place to a FANG company? So like Alphabet, Meta, stuff like that, like Fortune 100. So when you go up to these bigger companies, you are going to increase your paycheck. And at these bigger companies, you're also going to have they split the workforce into two components, right? You have people leader, you have individual contributor, so PL, IC, and and sometimes they have individual contributors up to director level at those organizations. That means you can go up to as far as a director at these larger companies and continue to grow your paycheck. So at that point, yes, you're still continuing to climb, and I'm sure you'll be making more money than you ever thought possible, just like I do, just like I thought. Right, when you get into that arena and see what people are making, see what people are doing, and just open your eyes up to what's possible, because I didn't know that was a thing until I got into that situation. Now, With that being said, some people also decide to start their own business. I have a lot of old coworkers that have branched out, much like myself, in their own company because they've kind of hit that ceiling with what they can make at a reasonable level and said, okay, the quickest way to now um, earn a lot more money is to now invest into myself, invest in my company where my effort and success directly reflects how much money I make versus I can be super successful in an organization, but I still may be only getting that 2 or 3% bump every year. It's not scaling as much as my business does. So these are all things you need to think about yourself as you climb. That's one of the reasons why I started my own business, but I have also found working in the workforce as well that I haven't yet hit a really big ceiling with my salary. I continue to get a good bump as I continue to grow, but I am also now management as well. I did make that jump into management, not for the money, just for the experience and to really have an opportunity to have more impact on an organization versus just working on it on an individual basis. So this was a really interesting question, and I think this is a good one for people who are planning ahead, like this person was. They were thinking in the future, how do I construct a roadmap to be the most beneficial for me in terms of max payout over the next 5, 10, 15 years? How do I make the most money within that time frame while also in actually enjoying what I do? So great question. Welcome if you're just joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So there you go. There's a question. What's new in the world? So there should be a podcast that I just recorded with my buddy Sean. It should be dropping. I was waiting on a headshot, and I got the headshot today. I just haven't had a chance to make the thumbnail, so that should be dropping tomorrow. This one is all about backups. So I had an opportunity to bring him on and chat about backups from his perspective. He's really good with all that hardware stuff. I had a lot of really good questions in terms of what people are doing, how things work. I'm not an expert in everything. And I rely on friends and people like Sean to explain their specialties to me. So it was a really cool conversation. Look for that. Um, I was playing with the title of back that thing up, just because it'd be funny. But look for that. It's all about backups with Sean Sullivan. What else is coming up? So I also dropped another YouTube video this week to answer one of the questions I keep getting, which is um, like people are like they're trying to figure out what's the most efficient way to break in, and they're just trying to get 3 or 4 entry level certifications, and it drives me nuts when I see it. And I'll tell you from a hiring manager's perspective, if I see a bunch of entry level certs, it does nothing for me. Because the problem is, if you're interviewing for a SOC role, which I'm a hiring manager for, one of the roles, right? I look at it and I say, okay, these are great, but none of these have anything to do with the SOC work. These are just security fundamentals. So if you have 5 of them, cool, but you still haven't obtained the skills that I'm hiring for. Therefore, they're not applicable in terms of me determining whether or not you can do the job, if that makes sense. So, my advice for people who are like, I feel like I need to get these certifications, you don't. Or I feel like I need to prepare myself to take the security plus, you don't. Get in, just do it. And when I say a bunch of entry level ones, like ISC Square has one, you have Net Plus, A plus, CYSA plus, um, plus. Just take the security plus, be done with it, and then move on to a specialty certification, whatever that is. So do Security Plus. If you're thinking about GRC, there are GRC specific ones. If you're thinking about doing pen testing, maybe do the pen test plus and then start studying like TCM stuff, try hack me, hack the box, whichever route you want to go. And then eventually OSCP, I would advise for SOC, blue team level one. You have try hack me, you have cyber defenders, any of these that are getting you the hands-on stuff that you would be doing as an actual practitioner. Those are the things you need to be chasing instead of spending. Right. Think about it from a time commitment, right? Security Plus typically takes people, I was going to say 3 to 6 months, but it's more like 1 to 6 months, depending on who you are. I did mine in 1 month. So I did the Network Plus in 1 month, the Sec Plus in 1 month, and then my larger certification like OSCP took 3 months. So it's your speed, right? Depends on if you figured out how to study and all this stuff, right? There's a lot of it depends. It depends, like everything else in cybersecurity. Um, but let's say it takes you an average of 3 months, because I think my cousin's been studying since the summer. She's not taking her exam till January. So she is taking over 6 months for her first certification. So if she is looking at doing A plus, network plus, security plus, that's a year and a half of studying. That adds a ton to your timeline. Oh, we got someone chatting in the stream. No, we don't. We have the bots. Welcome, bots. His name this time is Bulky Wood Units. Nice. Anyways, so that's a year and a half. Now, instead of spending a year and a half studying for these entry level ones where you've only gotten to a certain point of knowledge and you haven't exceeded that, 3 months, you're at that same point of knowledge. And then another 3 months, then we're looking at, I think I did my math wrong. Hers took 6 months, but if we say an average of 3 months, it would take 9 months to get all those certifications, potentially, maybe a year, depending on when you can schedule. But if you did it, my suggestion, 3 months, Sec Plus, 3 months, we'll say for Blue Team's level one. Now, if you actually studied, actually learned these materials, you're now in a really good place to do really good on a job interview. For a SOC level one, tier one role, whereas your people that have been studying for 9 months to a year, they're not passing the interview. They they're not passing an interview. It's not happening. You have a chance, they have no chance. So just something to think about at that point, right? You need to prepare for the role you're going for. And you can do stuff like hop on things like the stream, chat with other people who have experience in the industry, um, go out and look for information, reverse engineer your plan to get wherever you want to go. So just take the time, plan it out, and then do it. But time is a very, very special commodity because there's so much to learn. I always advise you take the most efficient route possible because of that. All right. Now, I think that's done. If you have any other questions while we're chatting today, feel free to drop them in chat. Otherwise, we're going to get started. And I think last time everyone made me buy a 1 month subscription to Try Hack Me. So guess where we're going back to? Try Hack Me. Yes, I have a new chair today. The other one was making my bottom sweat and it was very uncomfortable for the 3 hours I sit here with you. So we're not going to do that. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's go through and see if we can find a new lab to do. And we have elk. Are these all modules? So I did look before this to see if there were any restrictions with the user agreements. Didn't seem like it. So we'll just stream all the things. Let me change this to this. That works. Great. Like Tony the Tiger. We're going to be looking at Splunk. We can do an elastic one as well today. I would like to show the difference between the two because there is a slight difference, but they're also much of the same. And I can answer any questions in terms of that. I know there's typically a lot of concern about which one should I learn? Should I just go deep down into one versus the other and whatnot? So we'll talk about some of that today. Welcome if you're just joining us. Typically, it doesn't matter which sim you learn. I would spend more time on one versus the other. Every shop is going to use probably a different sim or seam if you're a seam person. I'm a sim person. And so it doesn't really matter, right? Which one. You just have to understand the concepts, and picking up a new sim is very, very easy at that point. Especially if you're going from like a Splunk to an Elastic or even a CrowdStrike, from Splunk to CrowdStrike, vice versa. They use a lot pretty common syntax. You'll see because this one I think is about syntax. So syntax is the way you talk, the way you do searches. Just like if you're in Google and you have certain query language you can use in there to find whatever information you're trying to find. So it's all about searching. So that is what we will dive in today. Welcome if you're just joining. Welcome, welcome. We are doing some blue team labs today. What did you come here looking for today? Are you a red teamer or a blue teamer? Let me know in the chat. While we're waiting on this room to load, maybe it kicked me out. Golly. All right, let me stop sharing. I refreshed this page like so many times in preparation so that I didn't have to do this. That's okay. We will log in and we will be back in business before you know it. Let's see. I'm curious who pops in today because usually we have all kind of people. Nate might pop in here. Some of the new folks. All right, let's see what my name is. Still using my old Cyber Union account on this thing. Yeah, I don't want to sign up. I'll log in. And we're just logging in here, super quiet. I know. So sad. I have to focus when I'm typing in a password so that I don't mess up. All right, so let's see if we can find what we were doing before. Let's go to Advanced Splunk. Let's explore the language. We'll start this room up and we'll let this sucker load here. But Splunk is one of my favorite ones. It's also probably, I would say it is one of the more difficult ones to learn. But once you learn it, you'll love it. And that's the good thing, right? Once you learn it, you love it. I guess it's kind of like regex. I have never sat down to like drill it into my head all the things I need to learn. And I always have to relearn it every time I need it. So I don't love it, but I know some people who do love it. All right. Already clicks start machine. I thought it did. All right. We're waiting. Yeah, and I'm sitting here talking and not showing my screen. What a bad host. What a bad host I am. Can access it in the lab. We're waiting on our IP to start. But yeah, good questions today starting out. Don't get carried away trying to over engineer your success. Focus on the skills, focus on the roles, and maybe change up roles throughout your career, versus worrying about whether or not you should do an engineering role because it pays more than, or because the cap's higher. Engineers are sometimes have a higher cap, sometimes not. Um, if you are good, you will make as much as an engineer. If you're good, you will make good money. If you make good decisions with where you work as well. Sometimes it's just being patient for the right role to open up for you as you get experience. Early on, you don't really have a lot of choices. You take what you can get, unfortunately. But as you get experienced, if you're good, people will hire you. Some people will lowball you. I think the 2 or 3 job hunts ago, I had a lot of people, some of them that said, "Yeah, we're not paying that much for someone. Yeah, this role doesn't go up that high, but we would love to have you. Cool. Thanks for shooting your shots." It's like dating. You don't have to say yes to everyone. Find the right fit for you and whatever your goals are. That's all. And the smaller the organization, the smaller the salary is going to be also something to keep in mind there. All right, for this room, we will work in the index windows.log. So let's go ahead and check out the index. I imagine we're going to be in searching and reporting. And we probably have to use double quotes. It is probably all time. It's probably not here. All right, here we go. We got what we're looking for. What is the name of the host in the data summary tab? I don't know what the data summary tab is. Let's see if we can find the data summary tab. Okay, maybe we're missing a step here. Okay, we start the browser, blah, 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 connect to the lab. What is the host in the data summary? What? I don't know what the data summary tab is. Let's see if we can figure out what they're looking for here. Maybe this one. Got some Kubernetes. Maybe it's a settings thing. Data models, data inputs. Yeah, I don't know what they're looking for. Maybe over here. What is the host? Maybe this is what they're looking for. Let's try that. Not sure what lingo they're using here. Okay, that's what they were looking for. Great. Welcome. If you're just showing up, welcome. All right, next one is search and reporting. This is the default interface used to search and analyze the data on a Splunk homepage. Yep, that's where we're at. Some important functions are present in the search app are explained below. The search head. So this is basically the box where we put in our searches. The time duration. So that is, let's get rid of this one. This is the time. This is one of the best filters you have with pretty much any major sim is your actual time. And the reason why it's because when you think about how sims work, it's looking in buckets. And if you say, hey, instead of looking at all the buckets, we're just looking at these few from the last 2 days or the bottom of this bucket because it's the last hour or whatever it is. But the smaller a pool of data you give it, the much faster it's going to return results. A lot of organizations struggle as they scale because the data gets overwhelming, which causes your search to slow to a crawl. And like it's not going to affect you in your training because everything's pretty small and concise. But as you get into an organization, you will notice these things start to occur. Search history. Oh man, still tired. Where's the search history at? Let's see, search history. This tab saves the search queries. It lets the users click on the past results. Let's see if we can find this. I've actually not used search history here. I've used it in other sims before. Let's see if we can find it. Where is... I don't see it. Does anyone see it? That's for the job. Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, here it is. It's when you get out of it, you get to the search history. There we go. So to get there, right, we had something up here. We had to search. We search it. When we search it, we don't see the search history anywhere. And also notice that it didn't add it to the time, like it didn't add the time frame. We had the time frame reset. And in order to get out of this, we just hit close. It resets everything. And now we can see our searches. But notice it's only the search history, not the time frame that we searched in. So very important distinction there to keep in mind. I'm still getting used to this chair I have here. I wonder if I can make the back sit up a little bit better. Let's see. I don't know. That goes way back. All right, whatever. All right, data summary. This provides a summary of the data type, the data source, the host that generated the events as shown below. This tab is very important. Let's see if we can find the data source. Let's go back here. Let's do all time. I don't see the data source. Let's clear it. Let's see if we see the data source. We don't see the data source. All right, let's look at our, wait for it. So it goes there. how to search. Well, here it is. How to search data summary. Event logs JSON, only 12,000 logs. It's pretty small. You would get that in like half of a second in a real environment. So being very generous. Field sidebar. So fields are a really important thing to understand. So all these are field names here. These are field values over here to the right of the colon. So this is where your information is. The field just gives it a name so you understand what's contained within it. And then the value is obviously the information contained within it. Interesting fields, alphanumeric fields. Yep. In the search history, what is the 7th search query in the list? Let's do some counting, excluding our searches from today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be number 7. In the left field panel, which source IP has recorded max events? Record number, target object, timestamp. Oh, which source IP has recorded max events? So let's go over here, look for source IP. It's not there. So source and source IP are different sources. Like where did this thing come from? Or source IP is where did this log come from? That wasn't any less confusing. Sorry. So like you see it's a .json. So this is the actual file that the logs came out of. So there's 12,000 logs within this file. So that's the source. The source IP is, well, source IP. Let's see if we can find it. The problem is what I'm struggling with here is whether or not they, maybe not, whether they're just saying source address or they legitimately mean source IP. Let's see. Got it. How many events are returned when we apply the time filter to display events on 415? 415 at 8:05 to 8:06. So let's go talk about that. So we're going to go 4 or 5, right? No, 4:15. Sheesh, my brain is done. So what we want to do is we want to do a date time range. And we want to say between. We want to say 4/15/2022. So what I'm going to do is just do it like, just click somewhere. We're going to go 4/15/22. And I'm going to paste this. So you don't have to use the calendar here. We're going to paste it in here. And we're running some issues. There we go. All right, now we need the time frame. So it's going to be 8:05 to 8:06 a.m. (8:05 to 8:06 6 a.m. So this is a 24-hour thing. So this is correct. So we have 134 events. Notice the events changed. Lines up with this as well. 134. Save. On to the next task. Next task. Welcome if you're just joining. I like this icon they chose for this. All right, Splunk search processing language comprises of multiple functions, operators, and commands that are used together to form a simple to complex search and get the desired results. Of course, main components are explained below. So we have equal. So we're saying the field name equals mark, meaning the value of that field name is mark. Value doesn't equal less than. So this has to be where it's a numeric value where we can utilize numbers and comparisons to them, Boolean expressions. Same here. And let's use the comparison operator to display all the event logs from index Windows logs where account name is not equal to system. So when things get super confusing, let's break it down one thing at a time, right? That's what we want to do here. Looks like someone posted a Discord link. I'm not going to click it. Not going to get me full. Um, don't know what that is. I mean, I don't care if you promo, just don't be annoying with it. I'm also not clicking a link. Sorry, super suspect. Um, so what I was saying is you want to break it down. Welcome to the channel. Anyways, um, but you want to break it down as small things, right? So we want to compare what they're asking and build something out of it, right? So we want to say index Windows logs. So index equals Windows logs. We want to put it in quotes because it's a string, right? So strings are just like your ASCII characters. So ABC, 1, 2, 3, all that. Put that in quotations. And then where account name, so account name is the field name. So the value within the account name does not equal system. And so account name exclamation mark equal system. And hey, thanks for the follow. And thanks for sharing the link. Click it, people, if you trust them, or drop it into a URL scanner. He says he's a hacker. His hacking channel. No, I appreciate you. Thanks for the follow. And yeah, so that's our query here. And let's go ahead and grab it. Then we'll drop it into our, looks like I over copied here. That's okay. We'll clean it up. And so it looks exactly like theirs because we copied it. Sometimes you'll have issues with spacing depending on what it is. Sometimes not. But we'll go ahead and hit enter here. And we're good. Do notice that we did not put this in quotation marks here and it still worked. And that's because there aren't any special characters or spaces that may throw off our search engine, which is why we don't have to put it in quotes here. So it says search engine, but our query doesn't throw it off. If you have a space, it's using the space as the delimiter, saying, okay, this is a separate thing it wants me to look for. Spaces help you there, or quotations help you there. Same with special characters. Sometimes there may be special characters like exclamation marks that will have to escape because anything that can come into a log. So like think process create, right? Whenever we're running a command like Silas is in a hacking Discord channel. So they're running hacking commands. So stuff like who am I or whatever, but running stuff, typing in credentials with special characters that may break our query, and we're going to have to escape those. Um, so just something to consider. If it's a special character, we may have to handle those appropriately in order for them to work here. So let's see what the question is asked of us. All right. It also supports Boolean operators, which can be very handy in searching. So Boolean just means true or false. So don't look at that and get. Oh, I thought you said it was for hacking. Cool, 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 cool. Cybersecurity and Linux. There you go. Someone that does Linux for you. So Boolean is literally just true or false. So it's an equation that either is true or it's false. And but people look at it and they get scared. But Boolean comes in handy in a lot of stuff, even in programming. We see Boolean operators everywhere with the greater than, equal sign, all those types of things. Boolean is makes things very easy for us, and a lot of times it's very helpful. It's better than doing a huge algorithm or a huge kind of programmatic thing. It's better than doing that when we could just compare two values and say, is this true or is this false, and be done with it. So it's very, very, very handy. What's your favorite hacking tool there, Silas? It's always a fun question. All right. So to understand how Boolean operators work, let's do some stuff here. So notice that we have this and not equals to, but we have this and in here. So it's basically saying both these things have to be true in order for the log appear. So the account name cannot be system, and the account name has to be James. So it's kind of could have done without it, but whatever. This is a simple one, so just bear with it. So account name is this in James. So let's look at how many account names we have here. We only have one left because of James. It has to equal James. What if we said not equal to James? Remember, both of these have to be true, and we're not getting any results at all because I guess there aren't any within this time frame that have an account name other than system in James. One of the interesting things you want to do when you're doing SOC related stuff is sometimes you want to start broad and then start weeding out some of the different things. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's do Windows logs. And we don't really know what we're looking for, right? Like, say Silas is in here hacking something. We want to find Silas, see what he's up to. We just don't know exactly what he's doing, but we know there was like a suspicious connection during this time frame that we have, or something like that, right? We just need to find him. So some things we want to do, like we may want to exclude types of activities out of our results so we can start narrowing down what we're looking at. So like right now we have 134 events. Well, 134 events happens in a millisecond in an enterprise environment. So we need to start trimming stuff down. What we can do is quickly just look through here and see if there's anything of interest or specific fields we are particularly interested in. So like event ID is a really good field to get used to. Very, very important for investigations. 10, 10, 10. Let's see if it pops up in here. See if we have anything besides 10. We do. So we have a bunch of these. So we could say any field. Three is a really good one. 4103. So we can say not 7. So we could say event ID does not equal 7. And now we should have all of these 7s excluded. Turns out there weren't very many, but this is how we do it. If we don't do and in here, it automatically thinks there's an and. So notice that we didn't do an and here. It just assumes that we meant and. If we wanted to do it differently, we'd have to say or. in between the different search parameters here. So something to consider. We can even do additional ones, as many as we want in here. Event ID, we can say, I'm going to do this because I'm lazy. I just clicked one, but we can say not equal to 10 as well. So this is index window logs, indexes windows logs, and the event ID is not 7, and the event ID is not 10. Notice that sometimes we have quotes, sometimes we don't. It doesn't matter. It's a number. There's not going to be a special character in a normal integer. So we don't really have to worry about messing anything up there. But that's just something to consider there, right? We just want to understand how we're using Splunk, and it needs to be, we need to be able to do this easily and not just understand Splunk. Splunk's not the important thing here, but to understand the process we go through when we're analyzing logs, because I would be doing something very similar in any sim that I would have. The concept of field names stays the same, values, excluding, booleans, all of these things are the idea. They're going to be in every sim that you touch. Nothing changes there. Maybe the way you present them, like some of them may use colons to separate values versus equal signs, which we can actually in Splunk use colons. It just means something slightly different. But there's different ways to do the same type of search is the only difference, but a lot of the concepts are going to be the same. All right. Wow, out of breath. Splunk also supports wildcards. You saw me use one. And a wildcard just simply means you're saying any value will do after this point. So, for instance, say we weren't sure how to spell Windows, and we weren't sure if there were, say, multiple types of Windows indexes, right? So we could say, I'll just use wind star, and then anything that matches any type of index that starts with wind, we will be searching. That's pretty much how wildcards work. If you don't know something, you can put it there. Or if you do know, like, say, we really just wanted to search all of these for whatever reason, we just use a wildcard. So it will return more results to us. It happens. So every organization indexes stuff differently. So it's just something to be aware of. But depending on how they do, they may do like Windows Sysmon, Windows PowerShell, and maybe we want to search all of those for a string. So it would just be Windows star. And with star, we can search, well, all of them. So if we do index, there's only one. Ooh. But it could apply for more than just indexes. So it could be, say, excuse me, say we want to look at this and we want to look for, I was trying to think of a path. So anything that occurs in, say, like what system 32, we could do something like that, like this. Let's look at target object. Let's create a new search for this and let me show you what I'm talking about. So, see these? This is escaping here. This is what I'm talking about. It's escaping these paths because otherwise, in here, this backslash means it's an escape. And so this is about to be confusing to you. We're escaping in an escape character. So what we're saying is, hey, don't do anything funky with this guy. Just read it as a backslash. And we have to proceed it with another backslash in order to tell it. If we didn't have that there, we would just say, hey, like right here, say, hey, this is just a normal S, which it can never be interpreted otherwise. So it's useless. It just reads it as a special character. And so if we didn't have that there, when it runs it on the back end, this is all it's seeing, just like that. So pretty funky stuff. If you're new to the channel or just hopping in here, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So what I want to show you, we have this search. What I want to do is, so we have target object. Well, what if we weren't sure which directory, but we know that they're always going to be in current version whenever they're targeting a registry value. So we just use a star. That's another example. And we change to 5 results from whatever it was from 2. So we increase the number of results because we opened it up to allow a little bit more stuff through for us. I should have got some water. Let me turn the AC on in this house. It is hot. I hate when you rearrange everything and you forget where stuff is on your phone. You know what grinds my gears? All right, there we go. You have these like 2 bright lights, one here, and they emit quite a bit of heat. My tower doesn't, thanks to Sean, with this big old fan inside of it that's super quiet. But that's the thing, right? So just think about it. It just allows you to search more without having to say this directory or this directory or this directory or this directory. You can have a wildcard. Now, as you get in more advanced areas of Splunk, you start worrying about search optimization. Early on, we don't care about that. Search, we have like all time. We can do that. It's not that important in a small environment where there's only 12,000 events. But say we're in an enterprise environment where we're creating over a billion logs a day, billions of logs a day. Now, if we're not optimizing our search query, we're going to have troubles. You can't search all the time. You're going to get a ton of events back, or it will never actually run because there's just too much data for it to handle. So we start getting into this idea of data optimization. I bring that up because one of the worst things you can do, besides doing all the time, is do something like this: star, string, star. And it's tough because it's basically 2 searches in one. I need to find everything and just look for current version. And then I don't care what comes after. But it's so much searching and parsing that it's having to do, um, that it becomes a really heavy burden on the system itself. Now let's think about how much worse that can get. What if your whole shift is doing that? So a team of 4, 5, maybe 20 people are all doing something similar. Now we have a really bad problem. How about not only that? How about we have a bunch of rules running in the background? We have a bunch of other queries to pull data analytics. So we have hundreds of things, maybe thousands running in the background with very unoptimized queries. Now we're going to start breaking stuff. And Splunk will not like us, or whatever sim you have will start to hate you because you're being very mean to it by not optimizing your queries. That's all. All right. So in the events, there are multiple. Let's continue. There's multiple destination IPs reported. Let's use a wildcard. So here we have an opportunity to use the wildcard again to expand our search capabilities. Fantastic. So we'll do that. We're still in the Windows logs index, but now we're saying destination IP. I wanted to have 172 in the first octet. I don't care about the rest. And I just paused because I was like, there's nothing in here. So our time range is off. So maybe they don't want us in this time range anymore. Let's go ahead and open up time range. 53 events. Yeah, say there's a specific octet we are concerned about. And this could be like a malicious IP range. It could be, I mean, anything could be like this. And it's just like an IOC for you. Hey, we know we only have servers with this specific version in this range or in the subnet. And you can't maybe feed a subnet to your SIM, we can just use wildcards like a net mask almost to do a search, basically. All right, so look at that. We have all these things. We get Selena, the singer. All right, let's see. How many events are returned when searching for event ID 1, which is sysmon process create logs, and user as James? I don't know. Let's take a peek. I don't know if they still want us narrow down all the way. Probably not. Let's do 11. Let's see what we did wrong. Okay, so I don't think we need to add. Let's see, this still has our range. Let's see if it's different here. There's 0. There's 11. Interesting. It's probably wants an equal here. Let's try that. See if this is what it wants. Please ensure it follows the answer. So this is the funky thing with this, is that it's always about, we need to figure out what they want. Is there a specific time frame? Event, so they kind of were messing us up, I think, with some of the formatting. So we needed to properly format it. I just copied it because they put it into a thing, but it was not properly formed, and it was doing it as keyword searches, is why it was not working. So it was looking at all of them as individual keywords, if that makes any sense to you. There we go. Got a streak. I'm closer to my next badge of 750 days. I do not remember having a really long streak. Just saying. So also, I think I fixed my my issue where my voice did not match the video. I think I had a frame mismatch with the frames per second. So fun. All right, so we're going to copy and paste this time, but we're also going to be aware that we need to fix our stuff to make sure we line up here. So things to keep in mind. Field names are important. Field names, if they do not match what's there, we're going to be in trouble. They have to match. Otherwise, it doesn't know where to search. So what we have to do, which kind of stinks, right, is that we need to find them. And so we can do that by just searching for everything like that. All 12,000 events, not the best way to do it. Wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do this in a real environment, but we can go through all of them and extract them. And now we also need destination port. So let's go find destination port. Luckily, they're all in order. Drop them in there. Okay. So what this did was told us the exact format of our field names. Remember, field names are case sensitive, one, which means capitalization matters, and also spacing matters, right? Like they gave us this with a space in between. Well, if you look at it, it needs to be destination IP camel cased, and then we're good. So that means take the space out, lowercase the p. Now it's supposed to be equal. So we'll equal it. Now, destination port, camel cased again. So let's fix that. D. We'll remove this space and add a capital P. Now it's supposed to be equal to port 35. So let's take care of that. And now we have 4 events like magic. There we go. Now we're rocking and rolling. What is the source IP with the highest count return for the search query? They're actually going to be nice and give us the query this time. Fantastic. Source IP with the largest amount is 11. In the Windows event, in the Windows log index, search all the events that contain the term cyber. So this is where we're doing a keyword search. So we need to make sure we keep this beginning part on because it said this law or this index specifically. And now we want to search cyber. Remember, there's an implied and here. So we don't have to add it, it's implied. And 0 events were returned. Now search for the term cyber star. So it is looking for this as a single word here. And we want this as part of a word. So we're going to look that up. Now we have 12,256 alerts. And we can see where it populates, and we can see it in the host name here. So it's a part of this word. And remember, when we search for cyber alone without the wildcard, this didn't trigger. But when we said, hey, we want cyber followed by anything, we pick this up. So good stuff. So 12,256 is our answer. All right. Our network generates thousands of logs each minute, all ingesting into our SIM. It becomes a daunting task to search for any anomaly without using filters. SPL allows us to do that. To remove the field, minus sign is used before the field name and plus is used before the fields which we want to display. So field name 2. Oh, see, I've never used it quite like this. This is interesting. I like to do the old table approach. So this is fun because I actually get to learn something new. I don't know in what case I would use this. Personally, I don't find this very useful. I mean, we're still returning all the fields in here, just not over here in the selected fields. So this is you selecting fields. Okay. So here we're looking for raw text while using the chaining pipe symbol. So basically what it's doing here is whenever you pipe, it is the same exact thing as it is when you're in a command line. You're basically think about it as 2 different searches, but one building off of another one. So it's saying, give me everything in the Windows logs index, so everything. Now I want you to take those results and narrow them down by PowerShell. So remember, we got to turn all the Windows logs first, and then we're going to search for PowerShell. Because if we search for PowerShell, then we're going to get everything. Search PowerShell across all the logs. And maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe there's certain logs we don't care about. And so that's why we narrow first, um, and then do what we need to do. Okay. So let's see if search also does partial matching. It does not. So even here, this is just to show you that if we just did a keyword search without using the term search, we'd have the same issue where it's looking for whole word match, which means we're looking for spaces on either side of it, not part of another string. So something to keep in mind there. This is where your wildcards come in play. If we did power star, we're going to start getting all those results again. So let's go look and see what we got here. We should be seeing PowerShell, which we do right here, PowerShell. So something to let's keep in mind there. Wow, I got hiccups. Hey, welcome for joining the stream. We're doing some splunking. Dedupe is a really, really good command. Fantastic. It can cause you to miss stuff, so use it wisely. But it can also get rid of a bunch of junk and narrow your search down so you can start finding stuff. And say you don't know what type of command was used, but you know a time frame, then you can do that. Hey, just give me unique commands that were executed, and let's see what we got. Or maybe you're looking for all the unique event IDs that are out there. You just need a complete list, and you just need a deduped list, meaning give me only unique ones, so you can see all the Windows logs that are available, which they're doing here, deduping by event ID. And we can show you that here really quick. So we search power, and what we're going to do is just, there's only going to be one event, one one log per event ID because we're deduping all the event IDs. Now, how does it determine which one to do? I don't know. I don't know what type of algorithm it's using to determine which one to display, but it is only going to show you one per. So if we look under event ID, we should only see one result per. So very important there. One result per. When you're deduping, you're only getting one result for whatever field you specified. So this is a really good use case. I was going to talk about this one right after we did that query, but they beat me to it. A table is a really great command, and what it does is it allows you to see all your results quickly and only the fields you actually care about, right? So, like if you looked before, these are kind of obnoxious, right? Eventually, these get normal as you get familiar with looking at the different field names. It gets normal, becomes English. When you're starting out, it doesn't look like English. I know, I remember. But sometimes we don't need to see all of it. Sometimes we only want to narrow our focus to specific things. Like in this one, we may only want to see the message block, or maybe we're looking for a particular, we just want to see how many hosts there are, or something like that, right? Or even the call trace here. And it becomes better to just table just the information out of that. So instead of seeing 100 fields and values, we see 3 or 4. And that way, when we're scanning for stuff that stands out to us, right, we can do it way more efficiently. Boom, look at that. I just scanned through however many results there are, 55 in like half a second. Where if we didn't have the table, it would take me quite a while to get through 55 because I actually have to now look through all of this to find the fields that I'm actually trying to analyze in the table. So, a difference between moving fast and moving slow. This is one of the things that analysts have problems with early on is it's learning these tricks like table and dedupe. Okay. One of the things I might not do is like I might not do all of these if I was looking at tabling. Um, all of this stuff I might do is say, hey, so we're gonna modify this slightly. Event ID equals 1. So this is process create logs. Let's see what we got. We don't need this anymore, right? Because I don't care about it at the moment. But now we see all these process creates. But what if I'm just curious about, say, event ID? Let's also add in command line here. I don't know if it's spelled this way in here. It is. Okay, cool. So I actually hate the way this is done. So let me rearrange this. All right, there we go. This is in order for me. So event ID, the host name, the user, the image, and the command line. All right. So say I only want to see unique command lines. This is a really good case of where I'm just looking for suspicious stuff and I need to narrow it down. I know it's really hard to see. I didn't think about it because people are slowly getting in today. I'll zoom in a little bit better for you. We want to narrow, or sorry, we got a dedupe. We want to narrow down and just look at only once when a command line's run. So we can look for unique stuff. And now this makes it a lot easier. And as you can see, now instead of having whatever we have had before, we only have 25. And we could say, oh, yeah, this is suspect here. If you remember, these were pretty suspicious commands before where they're creating a new user. I think this is the same data set we saw before. But all this stuff, normal, whatever. Oh, interesting. And we can do it way faster because we deduped our information and we tabled our information as well. So not only is it in a good, easy to see, easy to view format, but now we've gotten rid of a lot of noise because we deduped the information. So lots of stuff here. And now, I know there's less events there. Well, there's not that many there. Only 25 here. So 12,000 events, dedupe, command line, 19 events. So big difference for you doing this technique. All right, let's move along. Hey, welcome to the stream. If I need to slow down and explain something, let me know. Happy to do it. What's funny is every time I stream, my girlfriend starts sending me Instagram reels, and I have to put my phone on do not disturb. Otherwise, it sits there and vibrates the whole time. All right, so let's talk about data formatting here. I don't like this fields plus thing. I think it's stupid. I'm not on board with that one. I learned it. I don't like it. I'm not going to utilize it. All right, so here we go. Let's get rid of, let's look at it first. All right, here's our fields. So basically all this is doing is we're normalizing field names. So we're saying, hey, give me all these fields to the side, but rename the user field employees. Not particularly useful here, but it can be useful if we're trying to normalize field values so we can compare different log sources together, or we just want to make it easier for people to see, right? So say because the teams are different, right? So we have our sim engineers who are integrating all these log sources, normalizing the data, making sure the right fields are extracted, all that kind of stuff. We have the detection engineers who are building detections that are trying to catch bad stuff. We have our SOC analysts that are going through and responding to the detections that trigger. Okay. But say some of the field names are really ugly, hard to read, and And when an analyst were to look at a detection, they would say, I don't really know what they're looking for or what this thing is that they're triggering on. Well, renaming that field value could be beneficial to help them more clearly understand what our detection engineers were trying to convey in their detection logic. Okay. So it could be let's think of something here that would be interesting. One, I think this is a terrible, terrible thing. So let's table this information instead, because that makes more logical sense that someone would utilize it in that way. And just something to keep in mind is everyone uses these tools differently. So just because I do it this way doesn't mean everyone does. And I've just been doing this for a decade, so I have habits that you're not going to get rid of at this point because they've served me well. But let's continue here. So, so an issue here, we tabled this, but we have empty values. That'll happen because we only extracted some of the fields of all the logs, and not every log. If you remember, um, last conversation, every log does not have the same fields. Event types or event IDs differ in the fields that are in there, right? So event code one or event ID one has different fields than event three. Three is a networking related event. One is a process creation event. So three, we're expecting to see IPs, um, ports, stuff related to networking in them. While process creates, we're all about the process. So parent command line, process ID, parent process ID, process hash, things like that are going to be in the event ones. So if we're searching for, say, a target um, IP or something like that, or a port number in event code ones, we're not going to get it. And because we're not narrowing, of course, we're looking for these same field values across all the logs. So let's narrow that down. We could say, I don't remember if this is the proper way to do it, but is a way we can do it. We could say host isn't an issue here, but we can say user equals star. We're saying any user, and we can say source IP equals star as well. It's probably a better way to do it. Um, and if I got my field names capitalized correctly, we can see. But this is one way to do it without me Googling what the best way to do it is. So you can see that now there are no items in here, no rows in our table that have missing fields, because we said, hey, uh, great, yes, I want to see those things, but I also want to make sure that the values that I'm looking for exist in every row that you're displaying. All right. So here's the thing where we're saying, oh, employees, where it may or makes not make sense, right? Um, it could be like, for instance, if we were looking at Active Directory stuff in Splunk, we could say employees. The field would be employees if we say they have to have like this specific value in Active Directory that makes them employees, say versus a service account or something like that. But that's where renaming comes in handy. Now, another thing where we could do is maybe we get all this data back and we just want to see how many users show up, aka employees. We could either table that and dedupe it, or we could come over here and look for that particular field, wherever it's at right here, and we can see all the unique users. Now, Elastic lies to you sometimes. Splunk doesn't lie to you, but Elastic will lie to you, and it's frustrating. But yeah, this is one way to do it. You can do it with this as well. 100% of events, 21 values. So there's 21 values total, but we're only seeing the top 10 here. So something to keep in mind. Welcome. If you're just joining us, I see we got a few new people. Welcome. What'd you come here for? Tell me all about the things that you're looking for. Sit on my couch, take a seat, tell me about your problems. But yeah, welcome. We're just diving into Splunk. Have you used Splunk before? Let me know in the chat. All right, what is the third event returned against this search query? So let's go ahead and throw it in here. Throw it in here. Reverse just changes the order of by time. And I will tell you from real life experience, sometimes that doesn't work the way you think it works, but that's okay. We'll use it in this case. We need the third event. So here it is. And what was it asking? Event ID. Okay. 4103 PowerShell logs. 03. Use the dedupe command against the hostname field before the reverse command in question one. What is the first username? So use the dedupe command. So we remember that against the hostname field. So we're saying dedupe hostname, but we have to use it before reverse. So let's do that. So here's reverse. We need to put another pipe in here, dedupe hostname. And remember case sensitivity here. And we're looking for what is the first username return. And that is Selena, the singer. It's not the singer. I don't think she was into cybersecurity. All right, so another section done. SPL. Actually, let me see if I need to add an hour. No, we still have an hour. We should be done in time. So SPL provides various commands to bring structure or order. Man, y'all are quiet today. You're just hanging out, just listening. It's like, yeah, this guy is just talking about all kind of good stuff. Or do you have me in the background while you're vacuuming? Let me know. Let's see. SPL provides various commands to bring structure and order. So again, we're analysts. We're combing through data. Structure and order are our best friends here. Sorting commands like head, tail, sort can be useful during logs investigation. That's weird kind of phrasing. So you have tables. So we have head. Head just means give me the top 20, right? Tail means the bottom 20 or bottom whatever number you give it. Let's see. This one gives us 3 columns and ignore all the remaining columns. Yeah, we should know this already. We've already done this before. So we say, hey, Windows logs, give me these 3 columns. Jeez, big yawn. Well, come on in, senor, senior, senor, a senor. Come on in, hop in. Come play with Splunk with us. Splunk's a good one. It takes a while to learn, so get all the practice you can get. Are you a red team or blue team route, senor? Thanks for not being just a watcher, being a participator. Appreciate you. The head command, so we've already done that. So there's a default value here. So what we're seeing here is saying if you just use head alone, it will return the top 10 events because we're not specifying a value. This is the same with a lot of programmatic stuff. If you don't supply an argument, there's usually a default value, but you also have the ability to add an argument there. It's called an overload in programming, but it's okay. Let's see. The following queries show the table containing the method fields display the only top 5. Okay, so let's give this a whirl. So it's going to table stuff. Cool. We've done that before, and we only want to see the top 5. Now, typically when people do this, when they're doing head, they're doing tells, they're doing limited, like say a database query, right? We only want to say max 5. It's because they want to make sure they're getting the results they think they're getting. Blue team, cool, 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 cool. Welcome, welcome, blue teamer. And so we use this to limit, right? Because we don't want to sit there and wait 10, 20, 30 minutes, depending on how your sim is set up in an enterprise. We don't want to spend a ton of time waiting for results if we're just trying to check the quality of our query, if it is even working. Because sometimes we run stuff and it partially works, but it's waiting for results before um, it gets to the next part, and it could just be like very slow. Um, so this is just a way, part of your process flow as you're building out stuff. You may want to do this. I don't necessarily do this. Sometimes I mostly use time to box in my search results, so they do go a lot faster. And I only spread out as I narrow my search down even more if I need to go out. Usually you do, but I use time to box it in first, and I narrow as much as possible before I expand my search results. So same concept, just a different way to apply it using head versus time boxing. All right. Tell command, same thing. Last one. Sort. Sort is good. So a good use case for sort is these logs actually. So the logs are kind of jacked up. The time field is screwy. So whenever they produce these logs, they kind of screwed stuff up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at time, but I want to show you something. So time is the default field that you can search on with your logs. What type of blue team role are you looking for, senor, or are you in if you're already in the industry? Are you a SOC person, forensics, malware, GRC? What you doing? So here's our default time field. So look at this, 7:14:22, 11:37. But we have other time fields here. Look at this. We have event receive time. So this is when the event was picked up. I don't remember if this is by the agent or by the sim itself, but notice that it is different. It's taking place after. So this bad boy came in almost over 8 hours after this time, the default time. So underscore time. It's not underscore here, but it is underscore time is the field name. However, we have an event time field here, which happens to be just 2 seconds before this time. So even though we have this time and it takes place the day before, somehow the event time is this. So something to keep in mind is that it, this time could be affected by a lot of things, but what we want to do if we're searching across, like say we have a global SOC and the times are not normalized, meaning they're consistent. So like maybe UTC or Zulu time, they're not consistent, or you're not looking at them normally. So like if we have, say, I'm looking at my logs in ETC. Well, if I'm noting, right, I have another incident response system, and I'm saying, all right, this log came in at 7:14, 11:37, or this event took place at this time. Well, I'm wrong. This event actually took place 9 hours or 8 hours later. So this is really going to screw you up in the investigation if your times are not consistent. You're going to be in trouble. So keep that in mind. So this comes in handy because we could say, okay, I don't want to look at time underscore time, the default time field. I want to look at event time. And not only that, but I would like to sort on that field as well. And so we can do that. So we can see it here. It's going up. So we're looking at it from the earliest event when the event occurred to the latest event. So pretty common thing you would be doing in a SOC environment. All right. So we can also use reverse to do that as well, just in the opposite direction. All right. Senor is still chatting away. Awesome. He says he's just or she. I'm guessing it's a he because that's a male version. It's not senorita. Just trying to gain as much knowledge as possible to get my foot in the door. I'm on a self-teaching path as of now to change a career path. Ooh, a career changer. What are you changing careers from? This is a good question. I changed careers from a car rental manager in training to cybersecurity almost a decade ago, or over a decade ago now. I love people who change careers. They always have such a great story. Self learning. These are my favorite type of people too. By the way, you are my favorite type of people. Self learning. You end up learning so much, and it's awesome. Super motivated too. Use the reverse command with a search query here. So we're going to do this query and then we're going to add reverse to the end utilizing pipe. So let's do that. And then we just add a little reverse action. And then we want to see what is the host name that comes out on top. James Brown. Boom. What is the last event ID returned when the query in question one is updated to tell? So again, we're changing the sorting. Work for Pepsi. Cool. I think my brother-in-law used to work for Pepsi. 800. Wait, what is the last? No, it's looking for the last event. So this one, 4103. PowerShell logs again. We'll do that. So are you looking on the blue side, are you looking to do SOC? Are you looking to do security engineer? Are you looking to do forensics, malware analysis, managerial work? What you looking to do? There's so many options you could choose from. Sort the above query utilizing the source name. Was the top source name returned? So now we're sorting on source name. So something to keep in mind, right? sorts being Sort can be applied to multiple fields, and so look at how it's changing from sorting numerically to alphabetically just based on the type of data it's handling. So just something to think about. It works and you don't have to adjust for it, which is great. All right, what was the question? What is the top source name returned? Sam. Sam I am. All right, let's get two more sections to go. Transformational commands. So here's the limit. So this is what I was talking about. You can do a limit in databases, and they're utilizing it here. So they're saying top limit 6. They're just showing you like a concept how you can utilize it, but you could say you could use it just like we were doing before, where you're limiting it um, with this instead, like tell or yeah. Let's see, like we were doing up here with head and tail. So very similar. All right, let's see if they're so rare. And let's see, highlight. So I've never used highlight, so this is a new one. Let's check it out. Highlight command shows the results in raw events mode with fields highlighted. Let's see what it does. This is kind of an interesting one. Welcome if you're just joining us. Happy to have you here. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know that I would particularly use this, especially when I can just table the results. It's a lot easier to table and look for results versus having to highlight and look through raw events. That's actually a really good path for you, Senor. Typically, most people aren't going to start with malware analysis. It's a higher tier specialty, but it's very fun. I did that 3 positions ago. I was the malware analyst for my organization. Very fun. I enjoyed it, and yeah, you'll love it. There's a lot of free resources, some malware zoos. You can go into get samples. A lot of really good content on the internet for you to follow and learn. Very rewarding. So I hope you enjoy the ride. It's it's fun. Get used to setting up VMs, taking snapshots, and taking lots of notes. Um, you might find now AI wasn't a thing back when I did it, but yeah, AI helps. I think Itra even has a plugin now, so you can do AI to help you analyze the assembly. Um, so it makes life way easier instead of having to manually go through it all. Stats is a good one. Stats is a really good command. So I always end up doing stats count function like this stats count. I thought I did it slightly different than this though. Let's try it over here. So let's do, yeah, this is how I would do it. And I don't know that you can provide all of these, can you? I guess you can, but say you only wanted to do users. So stats is like kind of like doing a deduplicate, sort of. So notice that we have a table, right? So we get to see um, we get to see the field we were counting, but we see unique variations only, right? So we want to say, okay, what all unique fields do we have, and how many of each of those do we have? Stats is a wonderful way to do that. This could be a way, like, say, you sit down, you start doing SOC. You sit down on your new job at the SOC and you want to see what types of event IDs you have available, what types of source types. Maybe you do like a 1 minute snapshot and say stats, um, source type, or stats count by source type, and you can see all the source types you have. Stat count by event code, see all your event codes. A good way to get a high level overview of what do you have at your fingertips. Count by is awesome. Really, really good way to do it. Let's seeing if so it's counting by all of the ones that have these same values. So all of these have to be the same, right? So there's 4 events where this, and this all equal this. So that's what as you add more fields, um, as you add more fields, it's using that as like an and to check stuff out. What's up, Philippe? Welcome back. Always popping in here. We're in Splunk today. I think we're in Splunk last week too. Maybe. You didn't have class tonight, or you already did your class, Philippe? All right. Um, I don't know that we would be utilizing a lot of these. These are more like data analytics, but we may use them for like network detections where maybe we want to count bytes. So like we search, we know that this external IP is bad, and we want to see how much traffic went out to this IP. This is where some of these commands could come in handy, where sum all the bytes and tell me how much data left our environment. So looking for exfil, right? Or I'm trying to think what else you may summarize. Um, Trying to think. I can't think of another one we might do that with off the top of my head. It's late. It's late. I don't know. Nope, probably just network stuff. You might be able to count how many. No, you wouldn't do that. I was going to say PowerShell, like how many events are for like a specific session or something like that. But what makes sense? I would say mostly networking stuff. There's probably some other ones I'm not thinking about. It's late. I've worked a long day. I've been up since 5:30 today, so long day. Um, chart is. Have I used chart before? I have used chart. I think I learned this in the Splunk course. I haven't used this in real world SOC stuff. Time chart, maybe. Let's see what it is. Time chart count by image. I don't think I've ever done this, but I could see where this may be beneficial. So let's play with this. List the top 8 image processes using the top command. What is the total count of the 6th image? Let's see. Let's do the search query. I think this is what it's asking us to do. And we will. I think he said he wanted us to do stats on this. What are the top command? Using the top command. Hey, Philippe, great news, dude. Congrats, man. I bet you feel freaking ecstatic. I'm sure that's been quite the journey, man. That is awesome. I'm so happy to hear that for you. Big congrats. And thanks for hanging out with us on your officially graduated with a bachelor's day. This is awesome. So we want to use top. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was top and then we do a limit. Oh, we just want top image. We have to give it the actual field to top by. All right. So top image. I think we need to get rid of that. There we go. And it says it wants the top 8 image. What is the, so we need to do limit. Eight. And it wants the 6th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is the count? 196. 196. If you are following along, let me know if you have trouble, and we can slow down. Make sure you're getting the right answers as well. Dude, that is such a. I was getting a little tingly feeling for you. So happy for you. Like that is. I know you got to feel amazing today that you have taken a huge step in your cybersecurity career. That's got to feel awesome. See, using the rare command, identify the user with the least number of activities. Let's do rare. And maybe user. Nope. Cybertees James. James, is it? Create a pie chart using the chart command. What is the count for conhost process? So let's look at the chart command. I just glossed over this one because I don't ever use it and I can't think of a reason why I would use it. So chart count by, and then we just need to say image. No. Just do chart count by. Just do chart. Image, maybe? Conhost would be an image. Image is the file that's loaded into it, but it's not necessarily the process. But process isn't a field, it would be command line or a process ID. I may be overcomplicating this. So we could also do a 70. Could cheat. Let's see if this is correct. So this is me like trying to reason stuff out. What does it count for a con host process? So I didn't want to count through all of them, but it wouldn't have affected the count either way. So I just use this keyword search here. So we could have also done like this, pipe it, do search like this. It should have been the same. Just so we narrowed down so I didn't have to look through all of them and then charted it. So, an image is one thing, but we may have been able to do like command line. It wouldn't have come out the same though. So I guess it was image they were looking for. See, thanks guys. It was definitely a big weight on my shoulders, but now I'm free, more time to focus on other things that I want. So what's next? What's next, Philippe? What are you focusing on now? Now that you've got that out the way, kind of what's on your roadmap? Because I know you've probably already you have a plan um, for what you want to do. What's next? Not to be the buzzkill, because you may be just like, I need like a week off. I'll figure it out later. Welcome if you're just joining us. We're celebrating with Philippe. He has gotten his degree, and we are all super stoked for him. That was a medium. Interesting. Okay. All right. 2 days straight. I don't remember getting on here yesterday, so I'll take it. I'll take a streak. I didn't mean to have a streak, but I'll take a streak. One of the things I'd recommend. Oh, also, so I had some fun lessons learned this week doing interviews. I did a couple of them this week for candidates. Um, some advice. Some advice. So I saw a lot of resumes. I think I've seen probably about 10 resumes this week and did a couple of interviews. But the things I'm seeing, right, as a hiring manager, I've seen some really good resumes with certifications like, oh, these are all check the box, fantastic. We want to see that. But the other stuff I'm not seeing as applicable work to the role. So if you're a SOC analyst, you should have stuff besides like the Sec Plus or the CYSA. Since you just said that, I'll read yours in a second. Um, on there to show that you've been doing stuff. That'll help catch attention. But not only that, not only will that catch my attention, but I mean, you'll catch my attention if you have a bunch of certifications. But when you get into the interview and I'm asking you incident response questions, how would you do this? How would you do that? You're not going to be able to answer very well unless you have that experience doing these hands-on things like hopping and try hack me, hopping in blue team level one, stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that out there as a public announcement. Get hands-on experience. It will help you in the interview process. Not only will it help your resume stand out, but it will help you stand out because you'll be able to answer confidently what you would do when you're getting those scenario-based questions out there. So I just want folks that are on here, folks that are watching this later, just trying to give you some advice to help you land a job much quicker. All right, I'll shut up. I'm gonna go back to my corner and do some more stuff. Okay, so we did a challenge. What do we want to do here? So we got a few people in chat. What do you want to see? I'll leave it up to you. I'll chat a little bit. Do you want to do some blue team? Do you want to do some red team? Do you want to hack? Do you want to do some kind of IR stuff, malware analysis, forensics? What do you want to do? I am game. Also, has anyone heard of what a black team is? Someone said something like black team cybersecurity. I've never heard of this term. Let's see. An external cyber attack. This sounds dumb. Red teams just don't do internal. Red teams are full adversarial. So the black team term is very redundant. No, that is completely untrue. And there's white, black, and gold. What is this? Power Rangers? Jeez. Um, would I change something? How long are you looking? So, what's your goal? Are you looking to learn the most in general? Are you looking to find the most efficient path forward? What are you trying to do, Philippe? Happy to answer it, but I want a little more context before I just shoot some advice your way. But I am more than happy to answer this question. While you do that, we're going to look at what all these Power Rangers are in cybersecurity. White team, orchestrate, control, and drive exercise outcomes. I don't know what that means. So is this a manager or like a tabletop exercise person? Who knows? So this one's saying black team is simulated offensive physical adversaries. So interesting. Okay. And gold team simulated theoretical tabletop crisis simulation. So tabletop exercises. So or white team is definitely not tabletops. I don't know what that is. Is that like an exercise team? Because exercises are more than just tabletop. You could do like purple. You could do like cyber range. So confusing. I'm confused, and I've been in this industry a long time. I can't even imagine how a lot of you feel. All these, I'm like, what is this crap? I've never heard of this. Um, see what they say. Ray team is your simulated offensive digital adversaries. So this isn't necessarily true either, because red team could also it also includes physical too. So it's like adversarial, right? Whatever a bad guy could do typically is in scope for red team assessments. They are fully adversarial from a professional perspective, and this is me working at one of the top like offensive places in the U.S. and in the world as well. When I grew up in the offensive world, so I don't know. I don't know if stuff's changed since I've been in here. Let's see. Maybe try to get into the sock role so I can get my foot in the door instead of niching too much on anything. And then after getting my job, I'll see what interests me inside the space. Yeah, I would knit. I would change this significantly. In that case, Philippe, I would say. Let me bring up. Let me bring up a sheet. So you're saying CYSA plus BLT1, and then we'll say AZ. You said something like this, so we'll say this. And AI. Okay. So one, let me look up what AZ900 is. I don't know what this is, but I assume you don't need it because you really don't need a Microsoft certification. Azure fundamentals. Okay. So you're looking to do Azure, not just Microsoft in general, but cloud, Azure cloud. Hey, congrats, Rain94. Glad I provided some value to you. We're working on helping Philippe out with his roadmap. Hopefully, you're feeling pretty good about it, and hopefully you're pretty successful. How far have you gotten there, Ray 94? Where are you at in your journey? While you answer that, we'll look here. So CYSA, right? So this is. Didn't you say you already had a cert, Philippe? Don't you have Security Plus or something already? Um, so these two right here will likely get you a job, probably. Um, Azure Cloud. This should be a pretty quick course. It it won't hurt, but it's not going to help you with hands-on skills. Um, but you have prioritized the things that will. Okay, so you are here then. So you've done Sec Plus, you have done Bachelor, Batch in InfoSec, and then this is what you're looking for. So this here will get you, should get you a job, right? Sure, there's going to be some luck in the play here where it's just got to be the right time and alignment for you. But this should definitely get you a job. Now, these are bonuses, right? I don't know unless you really like to learn about Azure and it's going to apply to something else you want to do. Um, I may or may not get that right. So, like, if you were, and you might have already said this before, but I was trying to remember what you wanted to do, like in goal. Like, if you're trying to do something like purple teaming, trying to do forensics or malware analysis, I would skip both of these and niche down and focus on something specific. So either doing a forensic course, a malware course, doing pen testing. Pen testing may even help you even more than, but I would say pen testing courses would be more useful than both of these because they're so broad. You're spending so much study time on a lot of information that's not going to be directly applicable. Whereas pen testing, all of the pen testing, like 99% of the stuff you're learning in a pen testing course is going to be applicable to a blue team role. So it's just something to think about, right? Definitely, if you like Azure, go for it. Don't let me dissuade you. I know I have certifications I've done just because I wanted to do them. Did they help me in my career? No. So like Cast Plus, I did it just because I would take my time back if I could on that one. Um, but you just do stuff because you want to do stuff. I think I had the book or someone gave me the book, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna study this and take the exam. Um, but yeah, just efficiencies for you. Um, yeah, you're in a really good spot with these first four, and you're just seeing after this point. You're just looking at what other value can I add to my organization. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of AI courses out there. TryHackMe has some AI labs. There are some cloud specific labs in TryHackMe that are probably way more applicable than this Azure course, to be fair. Um, but up to you. I will say, from my perspective, I took a AWS course. I had to take it for my last job, so it's just the basic one. It was minimally applicable to my role. However, they paid for it, and I used the information for my company because I built my AWS environment for us. So actually saved a lot of money because I took that course because a lot of us talk about pricing and whatnot. Um, so it's just you do what you do, do you. But if you're looking at efficiency, if you're looking at asking for more money, these are things that are probably going to help you ask for more money as well, because that's always the argument too. How do I get into a role, and then how do I make more money while I'm in that role? Don't let money scare you off. Some people are really, they don't like to talk about the money aspect, but it is something you should think about, right? Like the Joker said, if you do something, don't do it for free, or if you do something well, don't do it for free. Um, And that's just something like you are a business yourself. So think about how to best market yourself to other companies. You'll be okay. You'll be good. Um, Hopefully that was a good answer for you. I'm curious what Ray 94 has done with his roadmap. I'm curious what he came up with. Everyone comes up with a slightly different roadmap, which is perfect because that way, if you do a certification I haven't done, I can ask you all about that certification and what you learned in it. Like recently, I was looking for malware analysis courses and forensic courses for some people. I want to send some people out to those. So I was trying to find good ones to do. So if you have taken any, let me know so I can look them up. Oh man, I just did a video for you, Philippe, on this topic. Well, it wasn't for you, but it was on this topic. So Philippe's asking, what do you think about getting a Network Plus? Do you think it's still worth it for me? And next year, maybe I will be doing a course for GRC to better understand the field and frameworks. Boy, um, yeah, GRC. If you're planning on pivoting the GRC, do GRC. I would say if you're planning on pivoting the GRC and that's an area you want to do, just go straight to GRC. Um, there is no need to go from SOC analyst to GRC. You can start in GRC. Um, SOC is a really good place if you're trying to dive into other technical roles. So the malware, maybe the pen testing, maybe the forensics. That's a really great place to start from the SOC as a starting point, right? But GRC, luckily, you can go straight to GRC. So you may adjust your plan to say um, bachelor's, Sec Plus bachelor's, don't need CYSA, don't need BLT level one, GRC. That's the new plan. But um, that's why I tell people to be specific where you're going. Like, what's your in game? Start working there because it's going to change your path. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting a ton of time going from this, all right, like this here, and then GRC. You've probably now wasted 2 years of your time when you could have gone almost directly into it. Not directly, but you'll have to find the right opportunity, get your resume, all that kind of stuff. But this is substantially a faster route to do this. So if you're thinking GRC, go straight to GRC. You can do it. It's a pretty hot field right now as well. Completely different than SOC work. So definitely something to consider. What I suggest, if you weren't even thinking about doing GRC, would I suggest doing the Net Plus? I would not. I think it's a waste of time. Again, you're already getting all the network information that you need to get in the Sec Plus that you already have. So you're not gaining anything really. Yeah, you're getting a little bit more of an understanding of network stuff, but it's not directly applicable to your job. You're better off chasing stuff that's more specific to your role in the SOC, your network forensics, your network analysis, packet analysis, things like that, versus understanding. Well, you already learned subnetting, but all that crap, Cisco, Juniper, all that whatnot. Let's see. Senor has a question. Do you have any suggestions? Hopefully that answered your question, Philippe. These are really good questions. A lot of people are confused about where to go or just want some kind of advice on where to go. All right, so I currently have the THM, Cisco Academy, Reading Network, and Security Plus, and also getting hands-on with VMs through VirtualBox. What is the THM, Senor? I don't. Try Hack Me. Jeez, it's late. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, Senor, let me know. Just tell me what. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see what you said you wanted to do. You want to do blue team. You're on a self-teaching route. There's so many, I think, malware analysis. Okay. Um, yeah. So for you, Senor, so you're on a self-studying route. Let's do your chart here for you. Yeah, I know. It's been a long day. I've been up since 5:30. I worked all day doing paper pushing stuff as a manager should, and my brain is blasted. Um, do you have any suggestions for my journey? So you have THM, great. You have Cisco Academy. I don't know that that counts as much. I mean, it's good like hands-on stuff, but I don't think that there's no certification. It's just study stuff, and you're working on Network Plus, Security Plus. Now, if you're just trying to get on blue team, same thing is applicable to you, um, Senor. I would I would read through the Network Plus, maybe tops, but I would just get rid of it. I wouldn't even waste my time on the certification unless you're just yeah. I wouldn't even waste my time on that. Actually, I would if you're looking to do network stuff, then do Security Plus, then do Cisco stuff. Like if you're doing network engineering, if you're trying to look at doing network focus with SOC related stuff, Security Plus, then look at packet analysis type courses such as, well, there's a SANS one. There's other ones as well out there. I'm trying to think if there are any big ones specifically. I think maybe INE has a few. The biggest one is GCIA, which I have. I let that one elapse actually. But yeah, I did do the course and it's like you're analyzing packets, looking for anomalies, helpful if you're looking for C2 type behavior, where they're doing like a funky um, communication method. Um, but I would do Security Plus and then focus on whatever specialty you're trying to focus on THM and make sure you're including all of the pathways in Try Hack Me that you're completing. So like this, like work through one of the pathways in here. So just pick one. So like SOC level one or security engineering, whatever it is, and then put all these pathways that you complete onto your resume, and it's going to help you get looked at a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I just made a video this week because this question has come up so much where people are like, I just want to get so many entry level certs, but it's like, you don't have to. The Sec Plus is designed as a generalized approach to just cybersecurity information and tangential information so that you have what you need to go deep into the blue side or offensive. Like, this is a good place if you don't have a lot of experience. Hey, here's the fundamentals. Now I can start pen testing. So good stuff. All right. So Ray 94, I'm getting to you. Let's see what you said. I was going to ask what cert would you recommend as a valuable next step in order to be appealing because getting an interview has been rough. Yeah. Yeah. They are rough, Ray 94. I look at what do you have so far? Drop in the chat what you've done so far. Ray 94. So yeah, it's hard. So I look at when you're trying to break into cybersecurity, there's two things you got to do. One, you have to build out a resume, right? This is what is going to get an HR person to reach out to you, a recruiter specifically. And then you also have to have the knowledge that when you get in front of someone like me and I'm interviewing you, you have to be able to convey, hey, I know enough information and I have prepared enough that I'm worth investing into, right? Because if you're brand new, you're trying to break in, you're really just trying to prove that you're worth someone investing time and money into training you to do this job, right? It's yes, um, you've worked hard to do this, but why should a hiring manager hire you versus someone else or spend time on you? Because when we bring in new people into the community, into our organizations, there is so much. energy invested in you to make you successful. We have to train you. We have to spend some of our more valuable senior time to help you get on board. So really what you're trying to convey is, hey, I'm worth the effort. It's going to be easier for you to work with me than any of these other juniors out here who are also um, trying to break into the industry. So just think about the business proposition that you're making as a candidate to these hiring managers out there, and that's what you're trying to. That's the case you're making, a business case to invest in you, because that's what you are. And that's how I look at junior level people too when I'm considering them for a role. All right, I'm trying to build up a pipeline of people for my organization, right? I need junior level people, I need mid career people, I need senior level people. Well, I'm putting energy, a ton of energy into my junior people because one day I expect them to be my senior people. So I need to identify the right people that I think are coachable and are motivated to get to that point, instead of I hire them, they're not going to do anything. I'm not going to get any work out of them, and it's going to be a disaster. So that's just something to think about. All right. Hi, welcome to the chat. We're talking about breaking into the industry. So you came into a good time. I have stuff open here. We just finished the Splunk room, but yeah, we're answering really good questions. I think these are amazing questions. All right. So Ray 94 just passed the Security Plus in August. Big congrats. And I have been on track me for 100 days now. Have done the path from pre security through DevSecOps, along with some other modules like Splunk stuff. So, all right. So you have Security Plus, and you have done which specific modules? So you've done pre security, DevSecOps, and what else? So we're going to say THM, and you are currently top 2%. Have you done any of these SOX specific ones? That would be my question. Because DevSecOps is great, doesn't really help me with investigations. Um, yeah, you can get by with the right certifications, with the right lab time without a degree. It definitely makes it easier. It makes you more marketable. Um, but it is doable with the targeted stuff. You have to have the right targeted stuff. So you have this one, you have security engineer. Okay. So if you're looking at engineer, and I'm looking to see what I think you just said blue team, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I'm looking through all the chats here. Yeah, what is your target goal, Ray 94? What are you shooting for here? SOC 1 in progress. And I will answer these other questions while you're working on that. All right. I've been applying to jobs, but no luck so far. I have a cyber degree. So I'm going to break these out into two groups so I can keep answering Rain. There's your stuff. And I'm just doing this because I'm dying quickly in terms of brain power. So I need to jot stuff out so I can keep track here. I think that's at IL-17. All right. So let's make this easy. All right. While you're answering it. So first part. So goal, SOC analyst here. Perfect. Right in my wheelhouse. You have a degree. So degree, I'm guessing bachelor's or associates. Don't really, not quite matter. But answer in chat if it's bachelor's or a kill 17. Just answer if it's bachelor's or associates for me, or master's if you're fancy pants. Sec plus in progress. Yeah, man, long day. Thursdays are long days. Didn't even eat dinner yet. It's like almost 9 o'clock. I had not even a full lunch. Ah, rough day. Um, so I'm gonna finish writing this question then, and I'm gonna hop back to you, Ray 94. I'm just piecing out this information here and get hands-on from THM HTB. Okay, HTB and THM. Part two, also, how do I tailor my resume to get an interview? Okay. All right. So we're going to answer yours in a second. Resume interviews. Okay. All right. So Ray 94, he said, I like the blue team more. It's easier to understand in your opinion. Yeah, but I'm malleable. I learn what I need to so I can get my foot in the door. So here's the problem, Ray 94. You need to pick at least a pretty close route and work towards that. So if you're kind of a foot in the engineering door, which your resume is very tiered towards being a security engineer, like I would not, unless you this be tough. I don't even think you get past the recruiter's desk for my workplace with this. Like this is great, but it's not useful for a SOC role. This would be great for an engineering role. If you're trying to do SOC, knock out that SOC one. Um, do the do SOC one, do SOC level two. Put that kind of stuff in there. Maybe defending Azure, advanced endpoint, stuff like that. Like gear it towards what you want, because if you're doing engineering, that's where you're like, okay, what types of things should I be learning? There's some how to set up a sim. There's all kind of stuff specific to engineering that will benefit you, but you really have to gear it towards wherever you're targeted. Because if you just blast, right, say I'm malleable, I'm just adding stuff that's interesting or that I think people will look at, one, you're burning a lot of time spreading super thin knowledge out. So you like some of these other folks who are like, oh, I'm gonna do AWS, now I'm gonna do AI, now I'm going to do Azure, now I'm going to do Microsoft fundamentals, now I'm going to do Cisco. You're spreading thin, and none of that's particularly useful to a lot of roles. Like none of that's useful to the SOC. Just wouldn't care. It's not something that would get you to a good spot where I can start training you and get you to where you need to be within a month or two. So you really need to just pick a direction and then let's start backwards planning. Because if it's SOC, get a couple in the SOC space, um, especially without a degree. You're going to have to boost it a little bit more. Your THM top 2%, good. Let's add some SOC stuff to your resume. That should, even without a degree, and I would add a SOC certification here. So, um, Blue Team Level 1, Try Hack Me has one. What's the other one? I was going to say the Cyber Mentor. That's not that one. Well, I think they have one too, but Try Hack Me, Hack the Box. Hack the Box is what I was looking for. Um, Pick one of those. The great thing about certifications are, for everyone watching, the great thing about certifications are that they're a third party vetting you as a person. They're vetting the skills that you've obtained. That's why they're a lot more powerful than just labs. Labs are great, but I want to see third party like third party certifications in there as well that says, hey, not only have they taken the time to just go through the material, right? Because that's what you're showing with THM. You can go through the material, you're spending time on it. But with these certifications, it's like you went through the material and you actually know what you learned or knew it enough to pass the certification. That's where the vetting came in. So my advice to you, Rain, pick a specific area and then let's start planning. Definitely want to hear from you. And next time I hop on, or a couple of times, if once you get your plan together, figure out whatever you decided on and see what you have put together. All right, I kill 17. Let's see what you got here. Bachelor for you, fantastic. Sec Plus in progress, good. Finish that. You're probably not even going to be looked at without any certification. You got to have a certification. So step number one, get a certification. Your resume is probably going in the trash at the moment. Sorry, sorry, dude. Um, and you want to do SOC stuff. So I would also suggest getting, just like I suggested, Rain, getting a SOC specific certification. So this would be like your blue team level one, something like that. Or Hack the Box, try Hack Me's one. Um, you can utilize those platforms to build up, to start working on that knowledge more slowly or in a more gentle fashion before you chase one of those certifications. But any of those certifications will be good. Um, just write them out on the resume so people actually know what they are. Because if you use abbreviations for these, your recruiters won't know what they're seeing because they're new. Even a lot of hiring managers won't know what they are. So just write them out. But have an additional lab section. Same for you and Rain. Have a lab section on your resume that says additional studies, additional projects, whatever, call it whatever works for your resume layout, and put all these pathways that you've done, SOC level one, SOC level two, whatever, add that in there. And what you're going to end up having is a pretty outstanding resume. You have your fundamental thing like Sec Plus, right? Security fundamentals. Boom, you're going to have, I'm going to just say BLT one, blue team. I keep calling it BLT. It's not bacon, lettuce, tomato. It's blue team level one. Um, but again, any hands-on certification, SOC specific, is going to work here. Um, oh, perfect, Rain. Perfect. Um, and then you're just going to add a bunch of these pathways, whatever pathway. So you're probably going to have another pathway or two done before you do your SOC specific one. Great. So now what that means is, hey, I got the eye of the recruiter. And now when you hop into an interview with, say, me, right, you can, yes, I am actually. I'm gonna eat some dinner when I get off of here. So when you get an interview with me, you're gonna be knocking it out, right? And just to be clear, I'm not looking for you to just say, "Eh," and this is what I've been hearing. It's been driving me nuts in interviews where they're like, "I'll just let AV handle it. I will." What kind of, it's like, I'll just let AV blocked it, so I will then just give training to the user who had it. Like, I'm looking for you to respond like a SOC analyst, not like a system administrator. Um, so when you're responding to these scenarios, think, what would a SOC analyst do? And that's how you should be responding, because that's the role you're interviewing for, right? Put yourself in that role. Before you get in, prepare yourself. I am a SOC analyst. I am responding like I'm a SOC analyst, and that's what we want you to do. So this means I'm gonna isolate the system. I'm gonna identify the process. I'm gonna see if it's spread anywhere. I'm gonna lock down the user accounts so they can't take any more additional actions. I'm gonna isolate the host so nothing else can get out. You're gonna do all these investigative things, these IR specific things on this host, and then I'm gonna make sure nothing else is compromised along the way. And I'm gonna look for the root cause. How did this happen? And we're gonna fix that problem so it doesn't happen again. This is IR. This is what we do in IR. And that's how you should be answering in these interviews. So if you answer something to that fashion and you can handle a couple of back and forths, right? I'm gonna drill in a little bit further. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about what you would do there. You're gonna rock the interview, because very few people answer scenario questions well. And it's because they just come in with a Sec Plus book knowledge. They haven't done anything hands on, they haven't worked through these processes, and they struggle. And you're not probably going to get hired if you do that. All right, Ray 94. Have all the certificates you get for completing and pass listed on the resume. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, you get if you go SOC route, you get um, one of those specific certifications with the exam on it, you're going to have a really good resume, and you should do all right. You should be able to get one. Um, Akil 17 was asking, like, there's how do you get a job with all these people with all these roles requesting lots of experience? You're not going to get those roles. Sorry, you're not going to get the roles asking for 10 years experience, for 5 years experience. The roles you're going to get are these junior level roles that are out there. There are not many out there. I'm sorry, but they are out there. So let's see, cybersecurity. Let's see. Actually, let's do. Am I in Google? Yes, I am. Junior SOC analyst. These are the type of roles you're looking for here. And let's see. Let's pop in here. This is what we're looking for. And some of them do say maybe they're looking for a few years experience, but most of them will not. These are the roles you're looking for. They're few and far between, but they are there and they are highly competitive, which is why I'm telling you to get the Security Plus, to get these hands on certification, because you need to be competitive here. Um, One thing I did when I first started out is I made a list of all the things that these jobs were looking for, and I marked how many times they were mentioned. So that basically you end up with a Venn diagram, right, of all the things that they have in common, um, and you know where to spend most of your time. Yeah, so this is the type of stuff you're looking for right here. I don't know if you can see it, 0 to 3 years. So these are the ones that you're going to actually have a chance at. Unfortunately, there you go. Well, I guess it's the same one. Let's see. Yeah, this is one of the ones. This is just a SOC analyst, though. It doesn't specify junior. Veronis again. Apex Systems. So typically in government space, I think Apex is government. They're going to ask for 3 years. That's typically a requirement. They will hire the SOC analysts. They will hire more junior people, but you got to have the resume to support that. Um, and these are one of the ones where it's like, this is the recruiting side of the house where they're like, all this years of experience, but we'll take a bachelor in lieu of some of that experience. And if you have these other things that show you have hands-on experience with these tools, with this specific type of workflow, um, and specialty, we'll consider you. So that's why I keep talking about all these things. Do these labs, do these labs. This is why. Um, because you're starting out brand new, you have to have a really, really competitive resume, and you have to be able to back that resume up with knowledge. And the only way you get that knowledge where it's going to be usable in an interview when they're kind of throwing curveballs at you is if you have enough experience that you can kind of use that knowledge you've gathered in creative ways. So, for instance, like I did an interview before this job I just got, where I forgot who it was, but they wanted a person to basically build out a forensics team. And it had been a while since I had done forensics. And so he was deep, like going down in very specific forensic topics. And I couldn't remember specific things. And so I was like, look, I don't remember. It's been a while, but I'm gonna talk through it logically. And this is what I would imagine based on these certain things. And I would talk to him. I was like, well, based on this type of thing, I would imagine I would identify it in this type of log because this API was triggered. And I just talked through it, and I could utilize my knowledge to solve these new problems I haven't solved before just through logical reasoning. And I ended up passing through, and was going to get a job offer, but it declined for this role I got because this role was better. Um, but it's just a case of I didn't know, but I was still able to use the knowledge to come up with a successful answer, an answer that was acceptable and was actually correct, because of just reasoning. So, something to think about. You learn enough, you're more flexible and adaptable to new situations. And if anything, even if you get it wrong, when you're talking logically through, you're demonstrating all that experience you've gathered, all that knowledge you do have. So it's going to be like a check the box, anyways, for you because it's like, okay, they didn't know this, but wow, I just got demonstrated that they do know all these other things because they talked through them while they were answering this question they weren't right about. So something to consider there. All right. What else we got? Yeah, we got a good 25 minutes left on this. We got any more questions? Let's see what else we can find here. Cybersoc analyst. Let's see what kind of requirements we have. See if we can find any good jobs for you on here. 4 years in the SOC or a similar role. Something to keep in mind too. Some people think, well, if I hop over to like a user management type role or something like that, then I can move into a security role, or I can move from a help desk to a security role. You won't make it through many recruiters in a SOC role with that experience. It's kind of like, okay, cool, they've touched computers, but they don't have anything here that says that they're going to be a good gamble when it comes to security. So something to consider there. I know I've seen personally where people have come from those and they haven't been successful in the role. They're still stuck in their old ways and they just struggle with making that transition. So just because you do that doesn't mean you're going to be a great fit, and doesn't mean also that the recruiter is going to move you over there. So that's why, like, if you see my videos, I'm like, just go straight into cybersecurity. That's why, because you could spend 2 years in a help desk role and it's not going to make a bit of difference for you. Stuff like this as related experience, similar security experience. Desktop support is not security specific experience. So keep that in mind. Um, build things, build these other things up. It works. One of the guys I mentored a while back, he did move up. He was able to make the transition from IT to security, but it was because the company he worked for allowed him to do that at his current place, right? They invested in him. They're like, oh, he's a great worker. Um, yeah, we'll give you some more security responsibilities. And it worked out for him. He had already had trust and rapport. It was a little bit easier for him to make that transition. So a little bit different, um, because he was moving from within. It was like a lateral movement versus a big hop, from one company to another. So slightly different there. Welcome to chat. If you're just joining, welcome, welcome. Here's a place, Smart DCC. I've never heard of these people. For someone entry level, either post grad or career move with an interest in cyber, there you go. Here's for a brand new one, specifically talking to you. Junior security operator or opportunity. I said operator. I can't even read. I'm so hungry. Competitive salary plus performance related bonus and shift allowance. Oh, here's a here's another funny one. Um, if you're a junior person, don't ask for a crazy salary either. It's going to be an immediate turnoff. Be like, I'm fresh out of school. I get a sec plus. I'll take 150 G's a year. Ain't happening. They're going to go tell you to kick rocks. You might have had an opportunity and then you lost it, because you overplayed your hand. So don't do that either. That's another one to stay away from. Here's another tier one. This is really, really high salary. It's government work probably, because this would Booz Allen. Um, Government space will pay more, for you, because typically there's like a security clearance like requirement and it costs money. It's hard to find people who can pass those checks, so they're willing to pay you more if you can pass the security check. If you notice the like tier 1, tier 2, a lot of places have tier systems and you can kind of see what the differences are. So tier 2 3 to 5 years typically. This one says 4 to 5, but 3 to 5 is usually what you're looking for in a tiered system. Um, this has got to be a DoD role because we see DoD IAT2. So this is one of these. Um, you would be required to have a IAT course, even for a tier one in government space. Here's a network security analyst. So if you are doing networking stuff, this may be a role that would be of interest to you. There are less of these roles than SOC analyst roles. I don't know what the interview process is for these specifically because usually they're combined roles, the ones I've done. So it's usually like endpoint and network all in one. And then usually we'll identify people that are more network heavy versus more endpoint heavy. And we have them like they'll be the ones that get involved if there's like a specific question about, hey, how do we identify where the traffic came from or the amount of packets that left or whatever it was. Um, Goes more towards the network people, but network stuff is kind of going away, especially for smaller companies. And the reason why is because most of the time we only get net flows, which include like your protocol, your IP address, target information, same, and then packets, like number of packets, how much information was sent. And that's because almost everything is encrypted now. So a lot of people aren't doing actually packet analysis unless there's some kind of decryption going on inside of that network. But most organizations do not have decryption whatsoever. So even with web stuff, you're only looking at the headers that aren't encrypted. So you don't even see the full URL. You're just seeing the domain, which which is also why domain fronting is so powerful in companies these days, is because of the encryption. All right, we got one more question. That's good. We got 18 minutes. Let's see if this is an 18-minute question or if I have to go on 18 minutes worth of tangents. Let's see. So given I complete everything you mentioned, then when I create my resume with my previous non-IT role, should I tailor it towards the job description or leave it off the resume? You will have to leave your all of your experience on the resume, more than likely. Well, depending, there are certain styles of doing resumes. Most people are doing them chronologically, from what I've seen, but there are other styles. So depending on your style, but leave it in there. However, be conservative with how much space you're taking up with a non-IT role that has nothing to do with the role you're targeting. So if you're doing a SOC role, a SOC, yeah, I said it right, SOC role. I was like thinking role. Again, I'm hungry, so I was thinking like food, like a roll, like bread roll. Anyways, sock roll. If you're doing a sock roll, but you used to work at like say the gas station, just put like gas station attendant. Don't even put like a bullet. Like it's not applicable. No one cares, but you should probably have it on there because one of the other things they're looking for, right, is how long have you been here? Are you job hopping all over the place? Can you keep a job? That type of thing is applicable, which they can get with just your time frame. Like I worked at the gas station for a year, and this was the gas station I worked at. Cool. Moving on, and then you do your IT stuff or whatever else you got. Um, but yeah, just save space because especially if you're new, you're going to have like one pager, tops two. You're likely not going to have a two pager if you are fresh. And so you want to save that space for things like your lab time, where you do all these labs here. You have your certifications, you have your bachelor's degree, you have that little summary. I definitely encourage you to put a summary at the top. Um, Summary, mission statement, whatever type of language you want, where you can say, hey, this is why I'm amazing. This is why you should spend time on me. And just be careful with using like ChatGPT to do it or any AI to do it. Do it like do it in a way that stands out and is unique because a lot of time the AI content is very like bleh. Like my eyes glaze over as soon as I read it. It's like, okay, this is AI. Moving on. I don't even grasp it, but it's such a good opportunity for you to stand out at the top. So use it to stand out. You have to figure out how to stand out in a competitive market. You just do. And right now is a hyper competitive market because there's a lot of people getting out of school. There's a lot of people trying to get into these roles, and there's not a ton of them there. So every little bit of thing you can add to your resume, every little bit of like win, like positives, I guess is a better way to say it, add there because it's going to give you a slight edge if you do it correctly. And that's what we want to do. We want to slowly increase your odds by adding more stuff and more, not only just more stuff, but more stuff that is valuable to the role you're trying to go into and your potential employer than the other people. That's what we want to do. Records management analyst. Yeah. Not super applicable unless you had a security clearance or something like that and you're trying to get a clearance role. Then it might be applicable. Um, Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, it's all a game, right? It's just a game. How do you win this game? How do you get into the top three of the candidates that are applying for that role? That's where you want to be. Top three, right? Because sometimes the first person declines it or something's weird with them. Something falls through. Same with the second one. Then you happen to be the next person up to bat. Like, all right, and that's okay. Not only that, but like you can do other things too. If you're actually talking with a recruiter, you know, be nice, ask good questions, follow up, answer quickly, just seem very genuine, very nice, and they will keep you in mind for other roles. Recruiters are like people, just because they don't have one now doesn't mean that they won't have one later. And they'll keep those records there. Like, hey, I just got this role, and I wanted to reach out and talk to you about it because they enjoyed the experience with you. Like, hey, I know this role just opened, but we talked to this guy before and we filled the role. But it's worth checking with this person to see if they're still interested. So um, take a moral of the story, right? Take every opportunity as if it's your last opportunity. So make the most of anything you can get. What else? What else? We got three people in the room in the stream. Any more questions? I mean, feel free to keep asking, keep chatting, Akil. I don't care. I don't really have time to do another lab, but I got plenty of time to chat. We can talk about the Power Ranger colors: purple, gold, black, all of that mess. Yeah, and the great thing that's here now is you have Try Hack Me. Try Hack Me has so many blue team things. They even have like malware analysis stuff and forensic stuff. Like this is a really good course. You could probably rock my world in an interview if you went through this course and you could actually answer to stuff like file carving. Um, like when I'm in an interview, I say, feel free to be as technical as you want. Um, because I can keep up with you and I want to see how technical you are. So that's what I tell people. Most hiring managers probably won't say that because they aren't that technical, but I am, and I want to see. I want to see how technical you are. Yeah, LinkedIn and Google. I like Google as well. The other ones like Indeed and Monster and all those, I tried them in the past, and all I do is get flooded with scams and fake jobs, and it's trash. LinkedIn, you still get some of that. People reaching out to you all the time, which is another thing, though. LinkedIn is a great opportunity to stand out and to have an extended resume of sorts. So spend good time on your LinkedIn profile, keeping it updated, making sure you're adding all the courses that you're doing. Like this is a case where you can put all your courses if you want that you've done and try Hack Me, Hack the Box, all these things. I look at it as my extended resume, and I've gotten most of my jobs have come from LinkedIn in one way or another. My first cybersecurity job in general. So I came in, um, I came in working at ReliaQuest. It was my first cybersecurity job, and the recruiter actually reached out to me based off of my stuff. I had done a few certifications, and they're like, "Hey, we have this role. Are you interested in it?" But they reached out to me, and I've had another. I forgot what else it was. There was another one or two roles where the recruiter reached out directly, but some of them I just put out. Like I just decided to take a break um, after one job and go travel and just almost take like a whatever they call it, like an extended vacation, a sabbatical. That's the word I'm looking for. I was like, what do those professor people take? Sabbaticals. So I took a sabbatical and then I just put on there, all right, I guess I need to start looking for a job. This is the type of thing I'm looking for. Any of my connections know of any positions? And I had so many friends that I had worked with before reach out and connect me with people or talk to me and get me in touch with a recruiter at their company. So it's really good to have a quality kind of LinkedIn community, LinkedIn profile. And I mean, that also comes back to doing good work whenever you do get a role because people remember. And if they remember you sucking at life, not being a really good practitioner, they're not going to do that for you, right? They're not going to want to hire you and whatnot. Um, it just is, right? If you don't have a good personality, people don't want to work with you, so they're not going to bring you on. Um, I guess people had good experiences with me because they still do that for me to today. Like this last role was someone reaching out and chatting about it with me. So yeah, use LinkedIn, extended resume, LinkedIn community, do good work. These are all things that are going to help you grow in your cybersecurity career long term. The community is so small, like it's ridiculous. Like one of my the one of my favorite recruiters I've ever worked with, his name is Joe, and I knew him. Like people have probably heard me mention his name before already, and I knew him for several years before I ever met him at DEF CON when he went to go work for TCM. And I just found out several of the people I know also know Joe. And Joe is also very involved with Gary's podcast and stream and all that as well. It's like the community's small. We all we know each other. Um, it's like Kevin Bacon, like but way smaller. Like I know someone that knows that person. I know someone that knows all these big name people. So it's pretty wild. So yeah, do good stuff because people will remember and people will talk about you. So it's not a matter of what you think about yourself, but what people say about you when you're not in the room. Something like that. That's a quote I heard one time, and it's a really good quote to consider. What else? What else we got? We got 7 wonderful golden minutes left before I can eat a BLT, a bread roll, something. Actually, I think I'm gonna make some chicken. Well, I made chicken last night. I grilled like 10 pounds of chicken and put it in the freezer. So I'll probably get out one of those half-pound bags of chicken and maybe some rice. That sounds pretty good. What else am I gonna put in there? I don't know. Let me just grab some stuff and eat it. I don't know what else is in the fridge. Some water. I'm pretty thirsty. I only have like 2 sips of this energy drink. Didn't even have coffee. I'm caffeine deprived, food deprived, energy deprived in general. This is what you got today. Yeah, I'm gonna eat me a BTL. I'm gonna eat me a BTL tonight. Uh, Crazy. This course looks actually really good, by the way. I'm like looking through this, and I was looking for forensic training past couple of weeks, trying to figure out what I want to send people in. This is really good stuff. This looks to be very At least this top part, very similar to the one I did on INE years ago. Um, I don't know what this is, but user activities. So this is probably going through these forensic artifacts like prefetch and RDP cache, shell bags, all that kind of stuff. It's okay. I got 5 minutes. I'm gonna finish strong. I'm no quitter. I'm not quitting. I can talk about random shit for 5 minutes. I'm trying to like stick to the schedule so my brain doesn't quit on me early. It's like, no, I got to finish. I'll do this. This is kind of cool. I actually haven't done a ton of Mac stuff. That'd be cool. I wonder. I need to double check the stream. We might go through this course simply because I want to see if it's something I can recommend to my people. So this is good. Mac stuff, Android. I haven't done, the last time I did some Android analysis was the NSA challenge a while back. I got about halfway through it before I had to do other work. But that was fun. Actually, unraveling an Android app that was like a chat app. They were like, "Oh, this terrorist group is talking to this other uh, these recruits and stuff." It's pretty cool. Yeah, you're welcome. Definitely keep me up to date with what you're working on, and let me know your progress. I love hearing success because it's a win for me. It's a win for the community, and most of all, it's a win for you. But definitely, and if you start getting interviews and you start having questions, like you get some questions that kind of like, oof, I don't know what they wanted with that. Feel free to bring them up. We can chat about them. We can work through those on here. But really anything, even anything that you come across while you're studying, come on over Thursday night, 6 to 9. We got you. We got you. We'll go through it. Memory analysis. Very few people do memory analysis. Very few. This is a good one. Disk image stuff. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Um, there's not a lot of people who do this, but it's kind of boring work. The dead disk forensics is not the funnest, not the most fun, also not the sexiest. Although I guess the TV shows make it seem pretty sexy. It's not sexy. Linux investigations. This is a good one. Yeah, I think we might hit this up next time. Can I enroll in Path? Let's enroll. Yeah, and we'll check this out next time. Dude, this stuff, the INE course I did a long time ago, you had to fix like um broken file systems is the word. So like I think it was FAT32 systems you had to repair. There's like a way, if it's corrupted, you can use this tree of how stuff's laid out to repair. It's like this um whole thing, but it's kind of interesting where like, oh, this thing's corrupted, it won't boot up, and then you repair it, and then you can boot it up, and then you can start pulling artifacts and all that stuff through it. You don't have to do carving. Basically, carving is, if you've never heard of carving, it's like, say you have a big file dump, you don't know where anything is, it's not organized except in chunks where the files actually exist. Carving utilizes the headers, so the known file formats. Yeah, we're about to end. I'm just running my mouth, Philippe. Welcome back though. But yeah, you just like use known file formatting to search out and pull those files out. So you can, a lot of file formats have like a header and a trailer. So this is how this file format starts. This is how it ends. So like PDF files are a really good example. And so it'll look for those, and then it'll extract those file types. So pictures as well have a header, have a trailer or footer. I think it's trailer, not footer. Footer's a Word document. Um, but yeah, so you can go out like these known file types. It looks for these things, pulls them out, and then you can start looking at them. So it's pretty cool. Sweet. Yeah, always happy to have returning people. We can chat and do some fun stuff. I think we will be doing this next time. All right, so I guess let's wrap this up. We're at the last minute. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. We had some really good conversations. I'll pull these out. We'll make them into shorts so other people can get this information as well. I should have a podcast dropping for the Mike Small podcast tomorrow because I got Sean's image for the thumbnail. We should be recording next week for the C Suite Cyber podcast. What else is going on? Got got a couple of videos out for editing. So we should have another video dropping next week and the week after that. If there are any videos that you would like me to do, feel free to let me know here or on Discord. Join the Discord community if you haven't already, by the way, where you can get me all week. And we can make some videos about it. So, like the question about should I take the Net Plus before the Sec Plus or whatever, I made a video because we're getting a lot of questions about that. So, happy to provide that information so that we can all get better faster and get a job sooner than later. But always a pleasure helping. And I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Take care, everyone. I'm going to go get some food. Good night.